Welcome to Auto Mundial, the weekly car news and review show, where this week the almighty Mercedes A45 faces its fiercest competitor yet, the all-new Audi RS3.
We also have a new luxury 7-seater from Acura and Kia's latest Sorento. Plus, Porsche's electric estate car and a very special one-off Ford F-100. That's all coming up. First though, the news.
Maker of some of the fastest road cars in the world, Bugatti has completed its merger with Rimac. The merger between VW Group-owned Bugatti and Croatian EV technology and supercar maker Rimac has created a new company known as Bugatti Rimac LCC, headquartered in Croatia, but retaining Bugatti's famous Mulsanne factory in France. The new company is owned 45% by Porsche and 55% by the Rimac Group, which itself is owned by its founder, Porsche, Hyundai and other investors. The collaboration will give the VW Group access to Rimac's latest EV technologies, while giving Bugatti an electrified future.
Over in North America, Honda's premium spin-off brand Acura has been busy. Almost all of its relatively small lineup of cars has had a recent major overhaul. The NSX supercar may still be the flagship, but in the past 2 years, the TLX, RDX and Integra have all received significant updates to try and reinvigorate the often overlooked brand. And the latest car to receive a welcome makeover is this, the MDX. The flagship SUV of the range, the updated MDX, gets plenty of tech and a V6 with an all-important third row of seats. Entry-level versions get the same 3.5-litre V6 as the old car with 290 horsepower, while the higher-spec Type S model gets a smaller turbocharged 3-litre motor producing 355, which should provide plenty of shove when the first cars hit the road early next year. There are plenty of trim levels to choose from, starting at around $48,000 and rising to well over $60,000 for the Type S. The best value option seems to be the $52,000 technology model, which comes as standard with leather, ambient lighting, autonomous safety tech, and a posh stereo with 12 speakers. Like the exterior, the inside has been given a good going over too, and feels much more premium than the previous generation car. Naturally, it gets Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as built-in navigation and its own Wi-Fi hotspot. Unfortunately, however, there will be no hybrid version available from launch. The old MDX was available with some electric assistance, but Acura apparently has no plans to hybridize the new model, an unusual decision for a 2022 SUV. Those looking for an electrified premium 7-seater are therefore better off going for a Lexus RX or Volvo XC90. But there's no denying that the Acura MDX is an interesting new option in the 7-seat Luxo 4x4 class.
To celebrate the launch of its new EV crate motor, Ford has put a pair of them into one of its most iconic vehicles. This F-100 pickup truck started life in 1978 with a rather humdrum petrol motor, but it now packs a lot more grunt thanks to its new electric powertrain. The so-called Eluminator motors are available to purchase and put into any car you can fit them in. In this case, the F-100 uses two, one powering the front wheels and one the rears. Each $3,900 Eluminator motor produces 281 horsepower, although in this instance Ford deemed that 480 was probably enough in a 40-something-year-old commercial vehicle. The F-100 Eluminator uses batteries from a Mustang Mach-E GT, but the electric powertrain isn't the only modification to the classic truck. Designed by Ford Performance for the SEMA show in Las Vegas, just about everything underneath the bodywork has been modified. It has a new custom chassis, billet aluminium 3-piece wheels, and a full custom interior with avocado tanned leather upholstery and a massive touchscreen. Whether or not you approve of electrifying classic cars, one of the world's biggest car makers offering off-the-shelf electric motors must surely be something worth celebrating.
When Porsche revealed the Taycan in 2019, it grabbed headlines around the world. Finally, there was an electric car from an established manufacturer with the performance figures to take on Tesla. However, nobody could have predicted just how popular the Taycan would become. It's only been on sale for a couple of years, but last year it outsold both the Boxster and Cayman models individually. So with Porsche's foot firmly in the EV door, it's been busy building another. This is the new Taycan Cross Turismo, and it's more than just an estate version of the saloon. While it may have an extended roofline to offer more passenger and boot space, Porsche's engineers have also been busy turning the Taycan into something of an off-roader. Okay, it isn't exactly a Land Rover, but the Cross Turismo has been raised by 20mm over the standard car, or 30mm if you spec the optional off-road pack. This beefy suspension is paired with some chunky wheels and tyres, as well as some black plastic trim to complete the SUV makeover. Many of the rough and ready styling cues have been inspired by the 2018 Mission E-Cross Turismo concept car, with some Panamera thrown in for good measure. All of these visual changes might be quite small, but added up together and the Cross Turismo is an extremely unique car and an extremely cool alternative to the ranks of more conventional electric SUVs. But while it's the styling that first grabbed our attention, it'll unlikely be the practicality that appeals to buyers. The Cross Turismo gets 47mm of extra headroom for rear seat passengers, as well as more space for their feet underneath the front seats. Boot space has been improved too over the regular saloon version, with over 1,200 litres of luggage space with the seats folded down. There's also a range of lifestyle accessories like bike racks and roof rails to further boost its usability and family car appeal. However, the most important aspect of any Porsche is performance. Like the saloon version, the Taycan Cross Turismo is available in 4 different versions. The entry-level 4 model starts at just under £80,000 and gets up to 469 brake horsepower with the overboost function. It'll hit 62 miles per hour from rest in 5.1 seconds and has an official range of 283 miles. After that are the 4S and Turbo models, each gaining horsepower respectively until we arrive at the top-spec Turbo S. Don't be fooled by the name, it is still electric, and as a result its 751 lightning-quick horses will get you from 0 to 62 in a neck-snapping 2.9 seconds, on its way to a top speed of 161. However, while it may currently be the only fast electric estate car on the market, There are numerous petrol ones, not least this.
For decades, the Audi RS6 has been the king of fast estate cars. While its 592 horsepower V8 might not provide the instant shove of the Porsche, it does supply a fabulous soundtrack. It's around half a second slower to 62 than the Turbo S Taycan, but has a much higher top speed of 189. And while it's hardly a Toyota Prius, it does give a nod towards the environment with a 48-volt mild hybrid system that reduces emissions around town and saves fuel.
Both of these cars are like bookends. The Audi is likely to be one of the last fire-breathing family estates, a supercar slayer with room for your dog, while the Porsche is taking the baton of practical performance into the next generation.
After the break, the Kia Sorento and the all-new Audi RS3.
Coming up, Audi's new RS3, but first...
The Kia Sorento might not be the first car that springs to mind when you think of a premium SUV, but these days with prices starting at just under £40,000, it seems that this, the new Sorento, is far from the bargain basement 4x4 it once was. So is Kia's new flagship posh enough to justify the price tag? Well, first things first, it does still come with Kia's enviable 7-year warranty, something that should keep the brand's budget-conscious buyers on side. The front end is angular and sharp, while at the rear the boxy shape is complemented by modern creases, clearly inspired by the US market Kia Telluride. It's a lot more distinctive than the old car, not that that was particularly difficult. So is it a success inside as well? Well, once again, it's certainly a big step up from the old car. It may not be quite as stylish as some more expensive rivals, but it's modern, interesting, and well made. To help justify the new price tag, the digital cockpit is fitted as standard to all models. While high-spec cars also come with a large 10-inch infotainment screen, complete with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There are, for now, just 2 engines to choose from, a 226 brake horsepower 1.6-litre petrol hybrid and a 199 horsepower 2.2-litre diesel. A plug-in hybrid version is also expected in the near future.
So then, how does it compare to its rivals? Well, first up is this, the Seat Tarraco. A smart-looking car, the Seat gets 7 seats, nice engine choices and plenty of space, while keeping that solid VW Group build quality. On the design front, the Seat has modern and functional styling. It's far from mold breaking, but it's purposeful, without shouting too loudly. It wouldn't look out of place on the morning school run while still being a looker, especially with these pointy inset headlights. A prominent radiator grille, LED lights and lighting strip across the boot help it stand apart from the Skoda Kodiaq and Volkswagen Tiguan Allspace, with which it shares a platform. So how about another upmarket Korean SUV? The Hyundai Santa Fe is back with a bold new style that we have to admit looks fantastic. The cabin isn't bad either, with loads of room and plenty of gadgets. It gets all the usual smartphone connectivity, plus a new 12.3-inch digital display in the front of the driver in place of dials. As modern and slick as it all looks though, Hyundai has kept plenty of physical buttons to make controls easy to use while driving. There are buttons for the climate control, heated seats, and shortcuts for the infotainment.
Sharing a platform with the Sorento, the Hyundai is available with the same two engines. Prices are on a par too, putting them both at the top end of the budget in this class. There are of course several cheaper options, but few strike the same balance between practicality and desirability as the Kia and the Hyundai.
It's no secret that we love hot hatchbacks here at Auto Mundial. Practical performance in an affordable package will always be appealing. But what if you're willing to spend a bit more than you would on an up GTI? Well, Audi has you covered with this, the all-new RS3. At around 3 times the price of an up GTI, it sits at the very top of the A3 range and is available as either a hatchback or a saloon. Naturally, it's had an RS makeover with a new aggressive face, swollen arches, and those signature oval exhaust tips. There's no doubt that it looks the part, especially with these 19-inch alloys, allowing glimpses of the optional carbon ceramic discs. Under the bonnet sits the same turbocharged 2.5 litre 5-cylinder engine that you got in the old car. A quirky engine choice, and one we're pleased has remained. It's a wonderful sounding motor and a refreshing change from the usual array of clinical turbo 4 cylinders. Interestingly, the power stays the same as the old car at 395 bhp. Audi decided that figure was plenty, and fair play to them. After all, the new RS3 is certainly no slouch, hitting 62 miles per hour from rest in just 3.8 seconds, an insane figure for a small practical family car. Top speed is limited to 155 miles an hour, but pay Audi a little extra for the RS Performance Pack and it'll top out at 180. The biggest changes have come to the chassis. The old RS3 always felt incredibly quick, but somehow a little lackluster through the corners. It was capable, but not especially playful. It seems that Audi was keen to address this. The RS3 gets a bespoke suspension setup. Everything has been beefed up and stiffened. So obsessive was the attention to detail underneath that the lower wishbones have been shaped aerodynamically to divert air to cool the front brake discs. Negative camber has been increased all round to further improve the handling, and it sits lower than the somewhat more sensible S3. The ace in the hole though must surely be the new torque splitter rear differential, which can divert power completely between the two rear wheels for increased agility.
However, the RS3 isn't the only hyperhatch built to take on super saloons. This is the Mercedes-AMG A45S, and while it doesn't get a sonorous 5-pop like the Audi, it still has plenty of go in it. Under the bonnet sits a highly strung turbocharged 2-litre, sending power to all 4 wheels via an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic. 0 to 62 miles per hour is taken care of in 3.9 seconds, and that is quicker than an AMG GT. Naturally, the A45 gets some proper stopping power too, with some 4-pop front brakes or some hefty 6-pots on the S version. Adaptive dampers come as standard, as does the all-important adaptive exhaust, which sounds suitably naughty. Top speed is limited to 155 miles per hour as per most German cars, but an optional driver's package can be specified which removes the electronic limiter, allowing the littlest AMG to reach 168 miles per hour. This being an AMG product, the A45 was always going to be powerful, but the boffins at Alpha Batch have been busy working on the chassis too. While the tamer A35 served as a base, the full-fat 45 gets some frequency-selective shock absorbers and something very exciting that we first saw on the Ford Focus RS, a drift mode.
It seems then that the Merc may still be a bit more of a hooligan than the RS3, but the Audi is now better than ever and a fantastic car to live with every day. Its new chassis setup means it's more of a driver's car than ever before, and a fine alternative to 3 VW Up GTIs.
Join us again next week on Auto Mundial as we preview the 2022 Corvette Z06.